You know, I've done a lot of videos on growing onions over the years, but I got a request from someone wanting to know if I could do a complete guide. Because if you go back and look at all my videos, I mean, I've done them, you know, starting from seed and going through planting the plants and then harvest and whatnot. But I haven't taken the whole step, you know, the whole process through from the beginning to the end. So I decided that I was going to do that. I was going to do a complete growing guide from starting them all the way to harvest. And I'm going to bring you guys along through the whole summer. So it's not going to be like one giant video. I'm going to break it up into parts. And as the summer progresses, I'm going to go through all the steps and then just shoot the videos as we're going along through the summer. So this video, first one here, is going to be about starting my seeds. Now, there's three ways that you can grow onions, of course. You can grow them from seed, which I like to do. You can grow them from bulbs, and you can grow them from plants. But I like to start them from seed because I think that they do much better. You're not you're not interrupting the process. So if you buy plants at the store, you've interrupted the process. Then they got to kind of get going again. I think it stresses them a little bit. I think always you get better results when you start them from seed, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so I had to go grab my seeds, and I thought this would be a good time to explain the different types of onions. Basically, there are three kinds, two main types, which would be long day onions and short day onions, and then you do have the intermediate onions. Now, people in the north like me, well, I live in Southern Oregon, so anything from like Southern Oregon and above, we grow long day onions, and if anything below that, you would grow short day onions. But I'll put a link below to a chart that'll give you a layout of the growing seasons or the growing, you know, types that you would need to grow depending on what state you live in. So I'm growing long day onions, and if you want a bigger explanation of that, I'll put a link below and I'll explain it on my website, the different types of onions. But for the most part, just look at the chart and then look at your growing location, and then it'll give you an indication of what type you need. Now, if you're going to pick up your seeds at like a nursery, well, your local nursery should pretty much just sell the onions that's going to be grown for your area. So if you live in like Texas, they should only be selling short day onions. Here, now that's not true actually, because I did see, I grow long day onions, and I did see one department store was selling some short day onions, and so I don't know why. I don't know what that was up. But if it's a larger or reputable place, you should be okay. Now on my website, I only sell long day onions because that's what I grow, and the seeds on my website are pretty much almost all seeds that I've grown myself and harvested. So I grow long day onions here, so that's what I have on my website. And then another issue I wanted to bring up is, when do you start these? Well, I'm starting mine now because I can work my ground anytime. It never freezes solid. So if you live in a northern climate where the ground is frozen solid, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out when it usually starts to thaw, and then back off about 8 to 10 weeks and then start your seeds from then. So you don't have to start your seeds right now if you live in the north. Like if you live in North Dakota or whatever, you could wait till February or March to start your seeds. But just figure out when your ground can actually be workable, and then just back off 8 to 10 weeks, and then just plan on starting your seeds and then getting them in the ground once your ground thaws enough to work. So you're probably wondering what we use in the pots to start our seeds. Now, a lot of people might tell you to just grab any potting mix and that'll work. And sometimes, yeah, that, you know, probably most times it'll probably work okay. But the problem that you might have with that, if you're going to take this inside, indoors, if you don't have a greenhouse, then what you could be doing is you could be introducing fungus gnats or a fungal infection, you know, and I just don't want to take that chance. I've had that problem before, and I just don't want to go there again. So I always use a soilless mix. And the soilless mix that I like to use when I start my onions is the Sunshine 4 mix, Aggregate Plus, I believe. And that just seems to work phenomenally well. I've never had any problems with it, and so that's what I'm going to use today. But it probably work if you just grab any soilless seed starting mix, and you'll do just fine. So now, as far as pots go, I am using these little potting trays here, and they come with 3 parts to it. So you've got the base, and then you have the tray here, which is a 12-cell tray, and it sets in here, and then it comes with a dome, and it has a little thing on top where you can vent it, you know, turn it to the amount of ventilation that you want. Shameless plug, I sell these on my website. I've been using these for years and these things just work absolutely great. Now, however, as far as the insert here, the 12 tray, I am going to use one, but I'm not going to use this one because I like to use this. This kind of stays with this. And I like to use the cheaper ones because I'm going to be starting thousands of seeds and I'm going to be selling them. And I don't want to sell this tray that goes along with this whole set. So I'm going to use the set, but I'm not going to use these inserts. I'm actually going to use these inserts here. And there's just these cheap little plastic ones. And there's 6 to one portion here. And you put 2 of them in here. And this is how I start them, like this. And then I just take these and I sell these 6 packs like this. And there's usually 6 plants in each cell, and so I get 36 plants like that. And so that's how I start them. And then I don't have to use this one because this is really thick, and this you just reuse these things over and over again. I got like this one here. I've been using it for years. You can see how dirty it is, and they do incredibly well. So actually, this one here. I left this one actually in the sun. That's how thick these are. I accidentally left it in the greenhouse here. It's got a little bit of warpage, but I left it in over the summer. And it went all summer long. I'd get like 140 in here. I don't know how hot it got. And it never really melted down. That's how thick, how tough these things are. I had some other ones in here, little green pots and stuff, and they just all shriveled up in here because I usually clean the greenhouse out during the summer. But that's how tough these things are. So they work really well. I'll put a link below to where you can take a look at those. So I'm going to start them in these 6-cell trays. And so I'll bring you in closer. First, I'm going to dump my sunshine mix into this potting tray, and then from the potting tray, we're going to go ahead and fill up the little trays. Okay, so when I fill these up, I don't tamp them down. I just level it off, because what'll happen when I water this, I'm going to wet it down before I plant. And what that'll do is that'll make them sink a little bit, about a ½ an inch or so, and that's what I want. I don't when I plant my seeds, I don't make a hole, put my seeds in, and then cover them up. I don't do it that way because I want to use the whole cell. So I let the whole cell settle and then distribute them around the cell. That way they're not all clumped together in one tight bunch. And so I filled a bunch of these up. Let me bring you in closer and show you what I mean. So one thing you could do is you could take and fill this up about 1/3 of the way with water and then drop these in and let the water just wick up, and it'll wet these down really well. And then what you do is you just tamp it down a little bit, the whole cell down, and you'll see that it sunk down really well. Or you could just water them from above, but that really makes a big mess. It gets all over. I did a couple of them. Look at how wet the counter is here. So it's much easier to do it this way. You'll just have to wait a little bit. If you put them in here, let them sit for an hour or so, and it'll just wick all that water right up. So that's the best way to do it, but either way will work. So let's get some more of these here, just like that. Let me get some water here, a little bit more. It's a little bit dry. You want these to be nice and wet. Okay, so the variety I'm going to put in this one is called Gladstone. I've never grown this before, so I want to see how well it does. I'm going to plant about 6 seeds, and I'm going to put them all over, distribute them all over the cell. So when I get done, I should have 36 or 40. And I'm not being really too careful. I'm getting about 6. Looks like more like 8 in each one, but that's okay. Because this is going to be part of my seed sale, and so whoever buys these cells, they're going to get at least 40 seeds per 6 cells. Let me get some of this here. So I'm just going to fill these up lightly, like this. Not too deep, just deep enough to cover them, because they're not going to stay in here super long. Whoops. And then I'm going to water these. And the easiest way to water these is with a spray mister. I forgot my spray mister. It's on the other side of the garden, and I'm so lazy I won't walk out and get it. That's pretty bad, isn't it? But anyways, this will do fine, just like that. But that's all there is to it. And then you go ahead and put your dome on, like that. And I don't want to open it wide open. I'm going to put it about halfway like that. And then we're going to label it. Now to label it, I just cut up anything that I have as far as plastic goes. I do use some stakes as well, or you can put a piece of tape on it with a label. It's totally up to you, however you want to label this. But I'm just going to label it with a piece of plastic I have here. So there we go, Gladstone onion. I'm just going to put it right in the center like that. Perfect. Okay, so that one's done. Set that one off to the side. So you're probably thinking, well, I'm just going to leave them in the greenhouse. Actually, that's not true. You know why? They do so much better if I take them inside into the grow room. Because out here in the greenhouse, it'll get down in the high 30s, low 40s at night, but it'll rocket up to like 85 during the day. They like to stay consistent. So in the grow room, it's like in the 70s all day long. And they do so much better when you keep the temperatures consistent. And so after they sprout, then of course, after a week or two after they sprout, I can bring them out here and then they'll do incredibly well. But during that sprouting process, you want to keep them consistent. So you could use one of those heat mats if you wanted to. I don't use them unless I'm going to be sprouting a difficult plant, like my moringa or something like that. I usually don't use those mats, but you could use them. It'll help them sprout quicker. I don't. If you keep them in the 70s, within just a few days, they're going to be sprouting. Within a couple weeks, I'll bring them out here. They'll do just fine. They're nice and hardy. So, yeah, you could actually get below freezing if they're good size. So that's really all there is to growing onions from seed. It's really simple as long as you just follow a couple rules. But make sure that you stay tuned because I'm going to be making more videos as the process comes along. In a couple of weeks, I'll show you them sprouting and whatnot, bring them out to the greenhouse. In your case, if they're sprouting, you'll have to get them under light, but I'll discuss that when that time comes in a couple of weeks. So starting from seed, this is part one. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you posted on the progression as the summer comes along. All right? So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share the video, like the video, and hit the little bell so you get notifications when I upload a new one. All right? We'll catch you later.